In Lesson 3, we are going to talk a little bit more about the meats that you choose. For instance, cattle or beef, which are designed by Mother Nature to be grass-fed their whole life and not really finished on grains. Even certified organic beef can be finished on organic grains, which is why it's important to get to know the source of where your meat comes from and to uncover if the animal was truly grass-fed from birth to market. All it takes is asking a few simple questions, which we will cover. Grass-fed animals live such a healthy, low-stress life that it's rare for them to be treated with antibiotics or other drugs. It's pretty typical for conventionally raised animals to be kept under pretty stressful conditions in pens and injected with large quantities of hormones and antibiotics. They're fed an unhealthful diet of grains, junk foods, and animal byproducts, which in turn turns them into meat eaters, akin, in some cases, to eating their own family members or a form of cannibalism. This can make them incredibly sick. Cattle are, by nature, herbivores and vegetarians, and their stomachs aren't designed to process meat and other junk foods. Now here's something to think about. When ruminant or cud-chewing animals, like cattle, are grass-fed or pastured from birth to market, their food products that we consume contain 3 to 5 times more CLA, or conjugated linolenic acid, than those that come from animals that are fed conventional diets. Now, CLA is a fatty acid that occurs naturally in many foods and is especially high in milk and meat from ruminant animals such as cows, sheep, and goats. CLA is produced by bacteria in the rumen. While the relationship between diet and cancer is extremely complex, CLA has been found to inhibit the growth of chemically induced skin and stomach cancers in mice, as well as cancer in the mammary glands of rats. Studies in other animals have produced similar results. Synthetic CLA also changed the body composition of laboratory animals, and they developed more muscle and had less body fat. Some researchers speculate that we may be able to reduce the risk of cancer simply by consuming 1 glass of whole milk, 1 ounce of cheese, and or 1 serving of meat per day, all from grass-fed ruminants, of course. Now, if you were to eat grain-fed products, you would have to eat 5 times that amount to get the same benefit. In one study done in Finland, women with diets high in CLA had a 60% lower risk of breast cancer than women who had the lowest levels in their system. Simply switching to grass-fed meat and dairy products may put women in the lowest category of risk for certain types of cancer. Another compelling reason that we may want to consider the source of our meat is that grass-fed meat and dairy can be up to 4 times higher in the potent antioxidant vitamin E. This powerful vitamin has been associated with lowering the risk of heart disease and some cancers. If that's not enough, another good reason to eat grass-fed beef is that pastured cattle are cleaner at the time of slaughter. E. coli contamination, which is a real problem in slaughterhouses, usually takes place in the processing plant when fecal matter from the animal comes in contact with the meat. The less fecal matter on an animal when it enters the processing plant, the less likely the meat will become contaminated. Pasture-raised animals are easier to clean because they come from smaller herds raised in relatively clean pastures. The majority of cattle in the United States, however, are raised in far larger numbers in congested and typically less sanitary feedlots. So there is research that shows that choosing products from grass-fed animals may lower your risk of foodborne illness as well. Because certified organic meats can be expensive and many are still finished on grains, get to know the source of your meat by asking a few simple questions. Choose naturally or organically raised meats that are grass-fed from birth to market, with or without the third-party organic certification. Have your client ask their butcher, farmer, rancher, or store manager the questions that you see here. If he or she cannot provide answers, ask for the manager or find someone who can, or simply instruct your client to shop elsewhere. Now, meat and eggs that come from chicken that are raised indoors and don't have access to fresh greens are unnaturally low in omega-3s. Hens that are pastured can contain up to 10 times more omega-3s than those that are factory raised. Another great reason to choose organic chicken is that over half of the antibiotics administered to non-organically raised chickens are identical to those that are administered to human beings. This can lead to super strains of bacteria that can become resistant to antibiotics, creating larger opportunities for human disease. Generally speaking, fish that carry a high chemical and heavy metal load are those that are considered large and carnivorous, and you don't really want your client to eat these very often. Furthermore, these fish tend to eat large quantities of smaller fish and then tend to be pretty fatty. Examples include swordfish, marlin, shark, bluefish, trout, salmon, tuna, and eel. White fish like cod and other non-carnivorous species generally have less fat content, chemicals, and heavy metals. One fish that's really high in omega-3 fatty acids and safe to eat is sardines, which are seeming to make a comeback. It's also wise to instruct clients to avoid farmed fishes like tilapia, trout, and salmon, sometimes called Atlantic salmon. Farmed salmon has less flavor and protein, and it offers fewer omega-3 fatty acids than wild salmon. In addition, it's likely to contain pesticide residues and may be treated with other chemicals like antibiotics or other drugs used to treat infections that occur when fish are crowded into fish farming conditions. Some additional points of awareness for our client include instructing them that they cannot really effectively wash off all pesticide residue. Also, the most important products for them to buy and consume are organic meats, dairy, and fruits. Refer to the list of fruits and vegetables with the highest and lowest pesticide values in your reading. Encourage your client to look for organic foods in their local newspapers, mailers, and now with online providers. Snacking is critical for maintaining optimal blood sugar levels throughout the day, and ideally we want our client to be eating 5 to 6 times per day. So coach them to eat healthful protein snacks in between the 3 main meals to help keep blood sugar levels stable, and also encourage them to avoid long periods without food, which can bring on stress, fatigue, and mood swings, and that's because blood sugar levels take a dive and sugar cravings will set in. A little preparation can help prevent any famished feelings just before lunch and afternoon slumps or crashes. So if your client works in an office environment, they can pack some raw organic almonds, cashews, or even avocados, cheese, skim mozzarella, or a favorite vegetable like broccoli, or any of the items listed here, and all organic, of course. If your client takes the typical lunch break around 12:30 to 1 p.m. and they've eaten a regular-sized breakfast, coach them to have their first snack around 10:30 a.m. Eating an abundance of raw, organic vegetables can help the body in detoxifying, and fiber can really help in this process as well. Raw vegetables also help to boost and maintain a strong immune system that keeps us healthy and helps fight off serious disease. This is the direction we want to point our client. Have clients add these to their salads, snacks, or their entrees, and this might be easier than they realize. Have your client experiment a little bit and recommend that they choose a salad composed of raw vegetables and top it off simply with extra virgin olive oil. Water intake is a great way to detox the body as well, and we know that water will assist the body in the weight loss process by flushing out toxins by way of sweat and urine. We all know that energy levels are enhanced when we keep our bodies hydrated, and hydration can assist in reducing water retention and improves the overall look and feel of our skin. It's been found that the simple act of drinking water can speed up your metabolism as well. These are all coachable items for your client.